in danger.
That's good to hear. Megan Williams, thank you. Thank you for being in Dubai. I suspect we will be speaking with you again. Once more, we are keeping an eye on the clock. We're also keeping an eye on a podium in Mumbai, where we expect to see the Prime Minister step up any moment now. As soon as we do, we will take you to him. It's important to hear what he has to say on this day. It is also important to hear what this next guest has to say, Janice Stein. Janice is a founding director of the Monk School of Global Affairs and Public Policy. I never know where you are, Janice, but you're in the Cotswolds in England right now.
We're in the middle of a conference about the future of the Middle East.
Okay, well, right place, right time, as always. Can you help me understand how it got to this so fast? Was there ever an intention to follow through with diplomatic talks?
You know, I think there was, Adrian, but the easiest way to explain this is in the last week, as more and more military assets flooded to the region, very valuable ones, like U.S. stealth aircraft that had never been deployed outside the region before. Everybody has their fingers on the trigger. The United States worried that the Iranians could preempt and destroy those valuable assets, some of which parked on the ground and you can actually see from space satellites. You know, the Israelis worried that the Iranians would start first. And the Iranians feeling an imperative to go because we're seeing these waves of drones and ballistic missiles coming out of the country, but they only have roughly 100 or so missile launchers. So the easiest way to explain this, use it or lose it. That is the dynamic that often leads to the result that we're seeing today.
Do you use it or lose it? Has Iran used it? I mean, where's the rest of it then?
Well, again, remember they have got thousands of ballistic missiles, but they're short on launchers. And they don't have any their air defenses are weak. So they have to move the launchers, load the missiles, and that's why you're not seeing the mega blasts that the Iranians, in effect, have said they would launch. They have to be careful not to lose those missile launchers, or they will have no offensive capability. Adrian, they will really be exposed.
Is it your anticipation that Khamenei was moved, or
yes.
Really?
Yes, okay. Yes, for sure. I mean, the expectation by everybody who watches this region closely that something was going to come, because you can't sustain the level of deployment that the U.S. had in the region for long. You just can't. So he has been moved. I would be shocked if he had not been moved to out of the city to a very secure location. Now remember again that Iran is one of the most penetrated countries into, intelligence operators, human intelligence operators, spies are all over. So how secret they can keep that location for how long, but clearly he and others, I would suspect, are not where they would normally expect them to be.
I think we've talked about this in the past when there's a big buildup. Big buildups can also lead to big misunderstandings and mistakes. How concerned are you about not an act of intention, but a fatal oops?
Oh, for sure. This is a huge risk. Well, what we saw in June is no guide to this. Those were almost orchestrated attacks. Each side is now firing at the other simultaneously. Each side is doing it as quickly as possible because of that use it or lose it dimension. One thing we haven't talked about, Adrian, is the vulnerability that the United States and Israel have. They have drawn down their stockpiles of missile interceptors. So you could think about these next few days as a contest between missile launchers, of which Iran has not enough, and missile interceptors, of which Israel and the United States have not enough. That's why you're getting this pace. And then, you build in the possibility of accidents.
I wouldn't dare ask this of anyone but you, but how does this end?
That's the $64 million question. I think all our listeners know, Adrian, there's no example of regime change from the air. Anytime regime change has taken place, one of your reporters was talking about 1953, it was done by people on the ground. So how does this end? Iran realizes that there's no way out but negotiation. I'm pessimistic about that. Adrian, there was that opportunity. They really didn't take it. Eventually this ends, I think, if there are people on the ground inside Iran, Iranians, who are organized, who have anticipated this was coming, and who see a regime that is weak, and who move against some of the institutions of repression that have operated there. That's the only way there is a quick end to this.
So we're starting to see statements, Janice, from other countries, Germany, France, the UK, saying, we didn't participate in these strikes. We're in close contact with our international partners, including the United States and Israel. What are other countries to do in this moment?
You heard, I think, statements, from Oman. I'm struck by two things. One, I saw the Prime Minister's statement, and we're going to hear from him. This was a very supportive statement by the Prime Minister because of what happened in January. We don't have good numbers yet, Adrian, of how many were killed by the Iranian regime, how many Iranians the regime killed. But there was large-scale killing within a 72-hour period. Iran does not have the support, not in Europe, not in the Middle East, that it would have had even 6 months ago in response to an attack like this. It's not good enough to be in contact with the United States and Israel. In order to be effective at this moment, you would have to have contact with two groups of people, the regime and the opposition groups that are fractured inside Iran, but some of them are malicious.
So Janice, just to give you a sense of time, that they're asking people in Mumbai to take their seats, so I would anticipate that we would see the Prime Minister shortly. But while I just keep an eye on that podium to see if he's showing up, have you been in contact, or have you been in contact with anyone who's been in contact with people in Iran? And what's your sense of how they are holding up? Because with the currency effectively collapsing, the protests, the threats, they must be terrified and kind of out of resources.
They are. I mean, there is 90% inflation in Iran. Just think about that, Adrian. It's extraordinary. Many people are grieving. We're just coming out of the 40-day mourning period in Iran for thousands of Iranians who were killed. This is a really divided Iran, and there are elements within the Iranian population who welcome this attack.
Janice,
the Republican Guard.
If I may, I'm going to interrupt you because Prime Minister Carney is in Mumbai and he is heading to the podium. So why don't we take a moment and listen in to what he has to say.
It is a privilege, a true privilege to be here in Mumbai this evening. I'd like to thank everyone in this room for taking the time to share with me, and in particular,